How's it going?
Hello. What's up?
Good. It's going good, guys. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. How are
Well,
you?
Good. Thank you, guys.
How has summer been feeling? It's getting hot.
it's not summer yet. It's still spring.
It's still
Summer's June 21st.
Yeah,
But
you're
it
absolutely,
feels like-
you're actually
Yeah.
summer solstice would be when we're in Leo, so you're right.
I know.
Smart.
It does feel like summer though. Like certain days though, man, it'd be weird. It'd be hot. It'd be cold. It'd be
It's California for you, San Diego.
bipolar as hell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not like
because of what?
Washington bipolar. Washington bipolar, like literally like 5 minutes it'll be raining as fuck and then all of a sudden it's 80 degrees. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not dressed for
Washington,
this.
huh?
What?
Seattle.
That's how bad it is. It
It's
goes
Southern
from
Washington,
raining.
like right at the like it's so bad. Like I have scars on my lips from getting such bad chapped lips from that severe weather change. My California body could not handle rain and sun immediately
I've been
after.
in Seattle, and yeah,
I felt like I was like cooked, like I got wet, and then someone just like sauteed me. I'm just like, ah.
I've been in Seattle. I
Same.
liked it for the first day or two, and then after that, I was like, all right, I'm over so much green. It's like Portland, Oregon. You know what I mean? Like,
No, it was beautiful. I lived there for 2 years. Vancouver, Washington, Southern.
It's green, but the sky is
Yeah.
always cloudy. That's the only thing
It
I was
is.
like, man.
Well, like the summers are really long, so that's nice. Like the sun doesn't set till like 8:30ish, 9.
Okay. You see
Like
how-
so I would be FaceTiming my mom sometimes, and she's like, "What time is it over there?" I'm like, "Mom, I'm still on the West Coast. Like, come on." She goes, "It's because it's throwing me off. It's bright there and it's dark here." I'm like, "I know."
Yeah,
It's 'cause we're higher in the equator.
I didn't experience it like that, but I was like every day that I was there at that time, it was cloudy, and then that's when I kind of heard that they're the #1 suicide rate over there.
Yeah,
The
because
depression.
it's depressing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, I didn't understand
I-
why until I actually visited. I'm like, all right, that makes sense.
I didn't understand that until like, because I mean I grew up in San Diego, and it's been pretty good all my life with weather-wise. But like recently, when we had like last year, it rained a lot. Remember?
Yeah,
And like and my daughter was telling me, she would go, babe, like I want to go outside and play and I can't because of the rain, and like she didn't feel well. She was like, I miss the sun, and I was like, oh dang, I can see how that like messes up your whole attitude when it's always like that.
but we're blessed
Yeah.
right in San Diego, bro. Like I can see
heck
why
yeah.
it's so expensive because you get the luxury of that weather that nobody really has.
Yeah,
Because
no,
of where we
absolutely.
are at the equator. We're near the equator, but like not too far. Not too
Yes,
close.
I guess that's
We're
what they
not that
call it.
close.
The finest San Diego is the
That's why I
finest.
said not
city in
too far.
America.
32 degrees north, 117 degrees west. I believe.
Oh, dang.
That's
Of
San Diego.
San Diego?
Is that
Yeah.
the
Of the equator?
Latitude and longitude.
That's the wait, say it again. That's
Okay, so latitude is up because it's like a ladder,
right.
and then longitude is long ways. So
Yeah, but the
34
numbers
degrees north and 117 degrees west.
is San Diego.
Fun
Pretty
fact.
cool.
See, remember
I never-
last time we were talking about full fun facts.
Hey, what did you learn about your Linux?
Knowledge.
What did you
So
learn about your
Gemini-
Linux?
Oh fuck, man! It's on my phone, and then I gotta scroll. All right. So
What was the
let me just
overall?
say-
What is the overall place? What is the overall value that the Linux placement in your life holds over you?
So my Lilith is Gemini, and like legit, it described me. I was just like, what? And then I sent it to my sister because it described her Lilith is also Gemini, and I was like, dude, everything is making so much sense now. I
You
learned
have
more
no
about
idea.
who Lilith was. Lilith is essentially like Eden, but she had willpower. She already knew shit, and she was like, okay, like fuck all y'all, I know the truth. Like, I'm not gonna blindly follow you. I'm just like, hey, there you go, girl. Woo. When I was reading, and
that's Linux. That's the Linux.
Lilith.
Lilith. The Lilith
She's
is
she's the dark side.
Yeah,
Like,
the dark side of who you are, the dark passenger.
but yeah, but it's like it's not necessarily the dark side, it's just more of the willing
It's kind of is
side, like the
the
more
Lilith.
open, like she's open to everything. Like there is, it described her like, okay, so this is what like I thought of myself, because it's like it said that oh, she is the most understanding because she knows loneliness, or she is the most wealthiest because she knew what it was like to be poor. So it's like
And
one of
that's
those things
based
where
on the
it's like
Lilith.
Lilith, like that's who, like it's your other extreme. So it's like,
So
Yeah,
why
it's
do
your
you think people
polarity,
consider
right?
it
It's
the dark
yeah,
because of that, like
because
loneliness, like
because she's seen, because so like how
she's
Eden is
knowledgeable and
supposedly, yeah, so like Eden just kind of followed. She's more like questioning things, like, well, wouldn't it be easier to do it this way? Why are you making me do it this way? Like,
are you can I say this in this interpretation of the Lilith? Would it be
Santa Muerte.
no, like the deeper being, the one that's more infinite, the
The
one that
more
knows more,
conscious one.
the more conscious
yeah,
one,
yeah,
the like the deep conscious of who you are
yeah,
is, and
exactly,
in the deep you can find all, and
yeah.
it can be light or darkness, but it is the
It's
deep.
just on how you interpret it. It is the deep, but it's just how you interpret it, and it's
Well,
how like others see it. Like the truth, essentially. If they don't want you to know the truth, then they're like, "Oh, that's bad. Like, stay away. That's a sin." Like type thing. Like,
the funny thing you say sin, I just had, because fuck,
We
I'm
all
about to
sin
sound,
differently though.
no, hold on, absolutely, but here's the thing. I started this prayer group in the morning because I don't know, somebody invited me, and I wanted to be consistent at something, and it's been the only thing that I've been
Why would you do
consistent with.
something that like you don't know? Like you should
No,
feel
fuck
like
no. I enjoy it because after that I go and meditate, and I don't take people's interpretation of like what they believe. I pray to what I think is my God, which is love, and I've said that many times. But ultimately, like, to sin, that word comes from like Latin, I believe, and it really means to miss a mark. And it's like
yeah,
you're conditioned, and one of the biggest things that I
that's,
bring that about is because you guys want to
I
talk
think
about
that was one of the
conditioning.
words of the day. Is actually fun facts. Yeah, dictionary.com emails me. I read them.
Well, like, ultimately, that's conditioning, and it's like there's a lot of conditioning in religion, and like, to me, religion is just conditioning. It's just one form of control,
it's
and
another
it's
way of
Yeah,
just like
propaganda, bro. That's another way of
it
programming.
is. It is a huge way of programming, and it's just like, to me, I know that I'm powerful, so when I pray to for power to come from myself, for me to be able to achieve the things that I want. I don't just leave it to God or Jesus or Allah or whoever the fuck it is,
Jesus,
Jeebus, whoever it is that you want to pray to. I mean,
Jesus.
I obviously believe in ascended masters like Jesus, like Buddha, a bunch of other different ones that were
Same.
not even mentioned. But the thing here is that I understand that they have the same things that I have, and that I have the same things they have, and that none of us are different from that. And that if we
Hmm.
really take the time to understand the infinite being, to understand the Lilith part of who we are, the whole, that you are literally the. That's why I like astrology, because it's literally like, this is how much you are the universe. It influences you infinitely. And look, we see it all the time with like the placements of the planets. Like right now, Scorpio is going to go into, it's about to be a full moon in Taurus, and it's going to be in Scorpio. And it's just like all of those things have a way of manifesting in our lives differently. Like, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, which is death and resurrection and sexuality. I don't know how that all ties in, but ultimately, because to resurrect is to create, and there is just no separation between creation and sexuality. And like, when these placements, especially when it's magnified by the full moon, which, so that means that it's amplified by the full, it's amplified by the full spectrum of the sun. Those things have effect on us. So there's going to be things that come up, whether you're conscious of it or not, and most of these things happen because the energy is set in motion, and it doesn't happen the day, oh, today it happens. No, it's just like this energetically.
Well, saying that, I feel like, okay, you're saying that we get the power from the sun, right? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's kind of like you get the power from the sun, and I don't know, it just clicked to my head. It was like, well, we have a fake sun. I don't know if you really heard all this new shit with the geostorm and all that. They have these, some, I don't know if it's true, and I take it back, but it's kind of like they're talking about if we're so connected to the solar system, and if we're altered by this sun that we supposedly don't have, then that means that's why we're, as society, we're so fucked up. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know why.
That's the biggest thing about,
kind of like, well, because I read some shit the other day, and it was talking about how we have a fake sun, and I was like, a fake sun, like what?
well, okay, then look, then you have to understand that everything's fake. Everything, if reality is pixelated, everything's fake. But the reality of it is that you are in the experience, so you are part of the experience. As a matter of fact, you are the experience.
Yeah, but if
And
it's been altered, how do you really get the experience? Like you're saying, like how before, like
I know how.
they're trying to cover your eye, or they're
tell
blocking.
me,
They're blocking that chakra. If we go back,
no,
True.
no, you're giving, your chakras can only be blocked if you're powerless.
no, I understand that. Okay, but you're saying you're going, and I'm just trying to tie in everything as I'm going that I've learned with this whole podcast. It's kind of like if we talk about astrology. Astrology has to do with the stars, the sun, and the whole atmosphere, right? And then we go back to chakras, it goes to energy. So obviously all this energy is, you know what I mean? So if this energy is being either blocked, or I don't know the correct wording for that, like if it's being altered with, then how are we really, you know what I mean? Like some people that actually, like, I guess we could say us, that kind of already like, all right, this has been fucked with, and we're getting misinformation, and we're getting this, and that's, I guess, where you're going to. Like, if you have that higher power, or we have that true understanding of how I feel like you have, Ivan, it's kind of like, well, all this other stuff that it's really interrupting the connection that we should have with the higher power or our higher self. It's kind of like I feel that they understand and how to disconnect you from that higher learning or that higher power of yourself with the whole fake sun that you're talking about.
I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about a fake sun. I
okay,
don't know that.
Not a fake sun. No. But I'm saying, like, okay, you're talking about astrology, right? How
right.
sunlight
I'm talking about,
and the moon,
right.
and the way if the day you were born, because that's how the natal chart comes along with, right? Like the day you're born, it's the way that the
it's what influences your existence.
Okay,
yes.
so if something was supposedly, or if there even exists of a fake sun of the one I'm referring to, then don't you think that's that's the thing that's disconnecting people, and that's why we're at the path that the humanity is going to? Like if we're really connected to the sun and astrology and blah blah blah, if we have a fake sun, don't you think that would alter our way of actually being what we're supposed to be?
Okay, I'm gonna say this right now. I don't think the sun is fake. I think all reality is fake. So if we're gonna really dive that deep into who we are and all this crap,
well,
like,
the point, man.
The point is, the point is,
I was like, fuck.
I
I don't even know if I
here
made
is,
sense to you guys, but it made sense in my head.
You did.
Look, I guess ultimately the reason that it would be fake is because everything's fake.
Exactly.
And but it doesn't change the fact that everything influences you. And if there's a fake sun,
But
it still influences you out of anything.
You're speaking of the one like us. Obviously, we know what influences and what obviously influence programming, TV and all that. It's programmed. It's called the following program is rated such and such. Because you know what I mean, they're trying to program you and like, all right, we got.
I think the biggest part of that is, Javi, is that there's different stages of like understanding, and like one of the biggest things is understanding that there is conditioning, and that you can't just start questioning everything. You have to come from the intuition. If the sun is fake, everything's fake, and so even your existence.
No. I'm not saying the sun's fake. The sun is real, but I'm saying there's something that's altering the way the sun, like there's been a reflection. I don't know if you've seen the movie Geostorm, and it gives you an inside scoop of what they're talking about. And
All right, that's the same thing that the Mayans are talking about, and
yeah,
it's
it's how
just
they
because,
want to.
all right,
They want to change the weather, right? Like they
and
make
it's
it rain
because
when
it's
they want
because
it to snow.
it goes more profound than the weather. It's because you have to understand light. Period. If you really want to have a conversation that complex, because it is extremely complex, and you have to understand how light works. And light is not just visible. It runs on different levels of frequencies based on like on the colors and perceptions of light that you can actually see. So when you understand things and that frequency and those different levels, like the geostorm that you're speaking of, this blockage that is happening, is not just, it's not from this sun. It's from a celestial
It's the same
sun.
way. It's the same
The
way as
sun,
like, look at
listen,
even the
let,
Simpsons
let me
tell you.
finish. Let me finish because I'm going to lose my train of thought. And the thing is that I'm trying to guide you into like where it is that I think that you're looking for the answer. This whole thing, everything that is formed against you, all of this whole um propaganda is really just spiritual warfare. And it's just because this different sun, and we talked about Osiris, right? And we talked about like this central sun, and we talk about like how the
Osiris
Mayans,
is the goddess of the underworld.
right? But it's just in ancient Kemet, in ancient Kemet, he's believed to be the ruler of the underworld, and like the gateway out of this dimension is through the Milky Way. And I believe Osiris is considered to be one of the guardians of it.
Orion
Ultimately,
or Osiris?
Osiris, go up the
Yeah, but
Milky
the
Way.
whole prism you're talking about is the same way the Simpsons even portrayed it in their movie, where they're in the whole Springfields and the whole globe, and you know what I mean, whatever they
Yeah,
thought
it's
was the
because, okay,
sun, the
that's another
sky was
thing.
all fake. Like, and it's kind
Okay,
of like where the whole people coming with it, like the world's not round, it's a flat. And it's kind of like I'm not a believer that the world's flat. I've
but
never
that's the
flown
same
around
thing.
the
That's the
world to be
same.
like, oh, you know what? Yeah, but it's kind of like, you know what? Everything you were conditioned to believe, to say, hey, the world's round. Oh, it is round. Like, have you physically flown around or whatever to actually say, like, oh, you know what? Yeah, the world is round. I haven't. So it's kind of like I'm always skeptical and I always do question of whatever.
Okay, and look, honestly, the reality here is that you don't know where you are. Period. And you don't know if you're on a plane. You could, for real and realistically, you could literally be just part of an experiment. And that's ultimately when you talk about like flat earth, when you talk about things like that, everything is artificial, everything probably is, and you really are just part of this huge experiment. And it's like, that's the depth of the conversation that you want to have. And ultimately, I understand, and I've done the research, and I understand.
I don't feel like
I've
I'm an
watched a bunch.
experiment.
No,
I know that, or if I am the experiment, I feel like I'm way aware of, like, man, bro, like I'm not.
no. Well, look. Ultimately, this is what it comes down to. Reality is based on your perception.
Yeah.
What you perceive to be your reality, that is your reality. And ultimately, what it comes down to is conditioning is there. And the biggest thing about conditioning is being able to step back and truly understanding who it is that you are, who is it that you are, and what part of that works for you and what doesn't, and leaving what doesn't. And not everybody is going to be ready for the message or the shift or whatever, but the people that are will, and ultimately you're going to be part of that. And the biggest thing about these conversations that we have is to expand our consciousness. We should be able to talk about these things in depth without there being like any or, well, I'm not gonna believe that. I'm really, what? Oh, nice, a parasite. Well, I'm glad you killed it. Anyway, ultimately, what it comes down to here is that we could go infinite amount of time on seeing what it is that we are experiencing. The reality is that the only thing that we can be sure of is that we are consciousness. That's it. And everything else is just an experience. And I don't know if the sun is real. I don't know if it's being blocked. I don't know if it's from a different universe. I don't know. If I told you what I really believe, you wouldn't believe me either. You know what I mean? But the reality is that we've all been stuck in whatever it is together. And if we stick together and we join harmoniously in love, I think that no matter what comes next, we'll be able to pull through. So I don't know. And ultimately, astrology to me, the only thing is that it's worked for me. It's resonated with me. It's not for everyone, you know, and different subjects will attract you based on different experiences you've had. This Lilith, like we said, this is one thing I will say though. The more you learn about astrology, the more things made sense to me. And not just me. I've experienced that with a lot of different people. And like I said, I don't know how the universe works. And because the reality is you can't see the universe. You see things, if you're lucky, and I consider you guys lucky, in 5 dimensions. And the universe runs on 9 dimensions. Plus you see with your 3D eyes most of the time. So there's just no way that you can perceive what is really completely happening. And that's why you're susceptible to this conditioning, because you don't have that inner connection to understand what's real to you or not. Because you and I may not come from the same parts of the universe, the same parts of anything. And it's just this experience that brings us together to learn. And that's why we're here. Does that make sense? And whether the sun is this or that or this is going to happen because this is happening, or no. I know that I came here with a purpose, and it was just to learn and to live this life and live a good life. And I'm going to continue to focus on that. And I'm going to use what I can to make myself better, to keep growing. And like I said, you know, some people like certain things. I honestly, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't like watching a lot of conspiracy videos. I don't, and not because I don't want the information. I understand the information, because once your conscience sees, once your level of perception shifts, you're able to see the bigger game. And that's the biggest thing of this all. You have to understand that this is a game. And there's levels, and the more you step back and not play the game, the more you can see it, and that's really the only thing you can do. Step back and not play it, and see the game, and just allow yourself to flow and understand that you're always going to be in the right spot in order for you to move forward. Because there's an infinite
spectate sometimes, or
no. I'm saying always question. You should always be able to question.
That's how I took it. That's why I would rather ask. Like,
I question, I spectate, I do.
I question everything that's ever been taught to me.
You're saying just sit back. Why would you? How would you question something if you're just sitting back?
Because I'm sitting back and questioning. I'm just not gonna go in there and put my hands get dirty. No, I'm gonna step back and watch everything unfold. Because there's just no point of getting so drastic just quite yet. Because there's still so much going on, and you don't see the big picture. And these things that we talk about and that people talk about all the time, there's a lot of information out there that is accurate, and then there's other things that are not. And the biggest thing about information, and the biggest thing that we could really tell each other is, what are we really experiencing? Us. Because that's real. And what is it that we can see? That's the real thing. That's what we can, if you really want to be informative, that's the only thing you can really, and to do it in a positive way. Because, bro, we can go on for hours, literally hours, going down the rabbit hole, and we will never find out what the truth may or may not be, because the universe is more funnier than you think. And something that you may think that has all this power is really the magician doing his trick, so that he can do his real trick behind you. And that's ultimately my thing. That's my message. Hey, what's happening?
So what are you saying?
There's a trick.
On shit if a trick.
I'm not saying don't act. I'm not saying don't act. I'm saying be aware of the game.
Spectate and not play the game. Like if it's
I'm not. No.
No, you could get rezzed.
Huh?
Haven't you ever played Call of Duty? You could spectate and play the game.
The best way to play the game is from the outside. The biggest players don't play the game. The biggest
Yeah,
players
sometimes I'm like,
step back
I'm
and let
chilling.
people do the work for them.
I died, and
come
so
in.
I'm watching my friends. Hey, watch out! There's a guy over there. East.
You see, but I'm not the type to send somebody to do
Window.
I'm not telling
shit,
you anybody to do any
Oh, but
work.
you're saying spectators, somebody.
I'm telling you right now, it's still not the time to be drastic.
Sit back and have somebody do the work.
I'm not trying to have anybody do any work for me. I'm trying to be conscious. This is a time of conscious. This is a time.
Okay, so
yes. Because you have to make the right moves. This is a time of making moves. It is. But here's the thing. This is a time of making strategic.
Checkers. That's why the game, if you want to, right?
It's checkers. Absolutely. And the
chess,
biggest
checkers.
Chess. Yes, I'm
sorry.
Not checkers, it is chess.
Checkers.
Yeah, and you play chess. You guys. I don't even play chess.
What I'm saying.
But I know that playing chess is the more reserved and the more outside of the box that you can step from the game and see strategically what it is that you're doing. That's why I don't. There's just so much misinformation for me to put what I believe behind it. If I haven't really done the research in depth, read the real report, I don't want to get my information.
It's not just
secondhand.
It's the same thing as if like experiences yourself. I feel like for me,
that's my thing.
I come in here and talk because of shit that I experienced. I don't come here and talk about. Yeah, I seen a video, but I can relate to the video and I like the video because of that.
I will recommend the video and like I'll recommend that video, but I won't just put my word. I won't put words behind something if I don't truly understand it, because when you talk about influencing someone, bro, I understand what I mean, but somebody that you influence may take it in a completely different way. And that's the responsibility that comes from having a conversation that in depth, is that not the way some of the things that you're going to give are not going to be perceived the way you want them to be. And it's a very fragile line, and it's super important to always, to me, to remain not neutral, but true to myself and true in the observer. Because to me, after all, is to be the observer. Because reality will morph itself into what it needs to be based on what it has to. And I'm just here to observe. And whatever I need to do will arise in a harmonious way. Does that make sense? That's why I don't like to push certain subjects. And like, one of my biggest thing is, whether you like it or not, that is spreading to some extent a lower vibration of being, because it is a little frightening to see some of the things that might happen. And I'll say that might happen and that are happening. And then shifts are truly happening all around the world. But I rather stay optimistic and stay in my place of what I believe. And it's that I'm going to be okay. And fuck. My biggest thing is, be a free thinker. Go and do your research. There's a bunch of information of what is happening or what isn't. You know what I mean? And it is, go get informed. All of us, don't just watch one, watch a lot. And truly dive into a more a pool of more information in history, because we can just look at history and we can see what the changes are
let me ask you
about to happen.
What good does it make you learning all that or going and getting information if you're just going to sit in the silence and not play?
I'm not in the silence. I'm right here talking to you.
No, I know, but
I'm just playing chess, not checkers.
Yeah.
And right now,
hey, you got to let people do that for you rather than you do it yourself.
I haven't done the research. Look, man, I think that, like, especially when you talk about some of the things, some of these technologies, some of these viruses, the thing is, or look, I'll just go like this. Let's just talk about the economy. If I give you economy advice, I'm not fucking certified to do that. I could tell you on my gut based on what I understand. And I might tell you something more personal when I'm in front of you because no one's watching me. But it is in this platform that people do watch us that I don't think that my mind is my mind, and I don't like to just share it with nobody, just like that. That's why I don't like to talk about those things. because I'm a strategic person and I don't let anybody into my mind.
Yeah,
And I
so,
don't know if you know, I don't know if you know who owns the company that we're processing through right now.
so
I
what
don't
is
think
the
you
message you're
understand
trying to deliver with this podcast, though? That you're not gonna let people
that.
in their
No,
mind. Like, what?
my message has always been
Like, if
transformation.
you can't
My message,
half-ass the people. Like, if
I'm
you're
not
gonna
half-assing
follow you,
anybody. I'm not. That's my difference, though. It's just, to me, my podcast is about transformation, not about spreading conspiracy theories.
well, it's
My
not conspiracy
my
theory.
my 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 message is that you are the magician and that you can turn anything into gold. And that's my message. My message is transformation. And I know that it's a great topic to talk about all of these things that are happening. And dude, if you want to talk about that, I am willing to listen to you. But it's just like, if you really want my because it's personal to me. What I truly believe about what's happening is personal to me, and I'm not just gonna freely share it just randomly. Because, dude, I understand how technology works, and I understand that when you put something out, it may sound like something right now, but it can be flipped in so many ways. And you don't know how influential your words are just yet. And that's why it's so important to remain in a status where your words are impeccable. So to me, it is more important that what my message is from my heart. And it is not in my heart to spread that. I invite every single person that I know to truly understand the urgency of the moment. But I don't know the truth, and I'm not gonna spread misinformation. And I can see what seems evident, but the reality is that there is layers to reality, and there's layers to the things that are happening right now. And there's bigger cycles and bigger games. And I'd rather focus on the bigger cycle and the bigger game, and trust the infinite moment. Because I do understand the cycle of change in the higher realm. I just don't know how it's going to manifest here. And I'd rather not indulge in the negativity of what could be a very painful transition, and focus on the fact that I'm sure that I'm going to pull through. Because that's my message. That's my message to you, to both of you. It's like, I'm going to focus on what I do want, not what I don't want. Because there's a lot of things that are coming they are. It's
Yeah,
just part of what it is.
yeah, of course, yeah.
It's sad to say, and fuck it, I'm
I
gonna
feel you,
even
yeah,
be more
yeah.
drastic. I'm gonna be
But,
even more drastic and just say this. And bro, not everybody's gonna make it through the next phase. And if you and history repeats itself, look at how the 20s were.
yeah,
And it's just, we have to be. I told you guys before, this seems like a little storm before a big storm, and I'll leave it at
Mm-hmm.
that. But here's the thing, no matter what, the sun will always rise. The sun will always shine. Whether it's fake or not, it doesn't matter. You are the illusion, and you will come out on top. So I love you guys for real. And I like I said, I can go for hours with you, but like this, it's different. That's what I feel in my heart, to be
that's
honest.
cool. No, that's cool. I mean, obviously, that's what we wanted to be able to express ourselves freely. And
Absolutely. And like I said, I'll listen to you guys, but like I said, I do want my words to be impeccable.
so, for growth, what would you recommend for growth right now? Like for our viewers, the people that are watches, what would you
I
suggest
will
them?
recommend the same thing that I've recommended since this whole thing started. This is a perfect time to learn,
Oh,
and to learn true worth. Life has changed drastically, and I don't believe we might get some normality back. I believe we will. I hope we will. I'm pretty faithful. I'm pretty fucking positive that we're gonna get back some normality. And let's not take that for granted. Let's truly finally go for our dreams. Like you said, what is this podcast about? What is this whole thing doing? Go for our dreams. If you want to start a channel when you want to do more research and you really want to get out there and spread this message, fuck, I'm going to be right there, right behind you. Does that make sense? It's just, my biggest calling to me is not that. I do want to be informed, and I do stay informed, and I don't use the news media to get in my information. I use, and I'm gonna be completely honest, mainly my instincts, because I do take the time. I have taken the time to get to know myself, my true self, that being that speaks through Ivan. Does that make sense? And he's not always around. It sometimes it comes and it goes. Sometimes I'm more ego than that being, but I know that being gets me through. Does that make sense? And nothing, even if you know what's coming,
So what's
it
the
ain't.
ego? I thought the ego would be your higher self, right? Or like usually
No, the
you have
ego is
I
not
feel
the
somebody
like
higher
mine
self.
are
ego
The
is
all the
ego is
higher
the
than
time.
one that.
conditioning. The ego is the conditioning. The ego is the fear. The ego is the bad pattern. All of those things that arrive from the negativity, that's ego. That's ego. The person that's scared, the person that doesn't want to go for the dreams, that's ego. Does that make sense? The thing that ties you to not being the best version of yourself. When you want to go and drink, and you what?
Thanks.
Bless you.
Thanks.
When you have a
Isn't
when
that
you
one thing that we've been conditioned to say though? Bless you. Do you even know where bless you came from?
I do. It
It
was
came from
in the
people used to
19.
think, oh, your heart stops for that 1 millisecond that you sneeze. So then
Yeah.
people started
And I
saying
thought you were
bless
gonna
you.
die.
So you
No, they thought that your soul was susceptible to being taken over
see,
throughout
I
that.
read that people thought like, oh, your heart stopped for that 1 millisecond. And it said bless you, like, oh, you know what I mean? That's how they
Well,
saw it back then.
there's
See,
different
and that's
myths.
where
That's
Exactly.
why
That's
you
what
see how information works.
exactly.
See how loose it
And
is.
that's why I use it as an example right now. Like we're over here saying like, oh, don't be we using this to grow and not be conditioned, but we were conditioned to say bless you. Why you say bless you?
I don't. I say bless your soul.
I didn't hear that. I just heard bless
I
you.
didn't hear that either.
Yeah, I just heard bless you. That's
Oh,
what
Oh,
I'm
I have
saying.
AirPods
Like,
in.
no. I might have not said it this time, but I usually
No,
say
you
accountability,
didn't.
bless your
bro.
soul.
I don't ever hear you say it though. I sneeze a lot.
Ask my daughter. I always tell my daughter, I'm always bless your soul. I know that I say it because she always tells me, babe, why do you say that?
But
And
that's a
it's just like,
condition, though, right? Well, what would you like?
no, because I just
It's
always
like
want
a
to bless her
ritual,
soul.
right?
It is a ritual. It is
Hey, but
conditioning. Fuck. Okay.
to wrap it up,
Well,
guys.
to wrap it
It
up,
was a good conversation, and I
it
always
was.
enjoy talking to you guys, man.
I always enjoy you, Javi, because you always push me to be authentic, and I love that.
Ooh.
And thank you, and thank you
I
for
hope,
being a
man.
truth
I hope I
seeker.
don't get on your nerves.
No, I don't. I just, but I'm gonna tell you one thing. I like to talk, and then you come in with facts, and I'm dreaming over here. So you kill me. I'm like, oh, I know you're right about what you're talking about. It's just I want to dream over
No.
here.
Sometimes fuck, I'm wrong sometimes too. I just say when we get our information. So I mean, I know
That's
that you guys
ultimately.
were on the same frequency, and you're like, hey, bro, you know what? Nah, you're wrong. All right, cool. You put me on my, and then that's why I like, and that's why I tune in, and I hope our
Tune
viewers
in.
tune in for that. And whenever
I
we
thank you
feel
guys
like
for
we're in the
being
I
middle of
patient.
tuned
something,
in.
I think
you know what I mean, we're able to meet in between or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
no,
love you
bro.
guys.
Thank you. I love you too. This is what the biggest purpose of this is: growing. It is intense to have a conversation sometimes, but hey, we worked through it by both of us stating our objectives. You listened, and I listened. Maybe you listened more than me, but you know what I mean.
Communication is key, man, and that's for any relationship.
Yeah.
You gotta
So
communicate.
absolutely.
Love
Thank
you
you guys.
Communication
guys.
is
Keep
key.
following us, and we
Bye.
will see you guys. Hopefully next
Communication.
time.
Word of the
Hopefully next
week.
communication. Word of the week. Hopefully
Ooh,
next week we'll be back
communication.
together. No more.